What's up, everybody? Bitcoin is taking a little breather, sitting here above 70,700, and yeah, it's very interesting. Again, we are definitely at an inflection point. This is make it or break it. This is a big deal here for price action. Something's got to give. So the main idea is either this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Maybe 5 isn't finished, and you can say, well, 5 is definitely not finished because we haven't taken this top out. That's true, but you can have a truncated fifth, which basically means you have 5 subwaves in the wave itself. However, the fifth and final wave didn't break the top. So here's basically what it boils down to. If this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then that could be the end of the fifth. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is basically the end of wave 1 of the big 5-wave move. So what I'm talking about here is basically here's the bottom of the bear market, here's wave 1, here's wave 2, here's wave 3, here's wave 4, and now we're going into wave 5. So wave 5 needs 5 waves. So when you zoom all the way in, right, when I zoom into the 4-hour chart, we may have just gotten that first wave to the upside, which means you're going to need a wave 2, which means you probably have downside. But here's the thing. So this might not be finished. We might pop up here for a wave 5. And then I would actually prefer that because it would look cleaner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? But regardless, after that 5 wave is complete, right, that would be wave 1 of 5. So then you would need a correction. So some type of ABC correction. And that could be big. It could be pretty big because, if this is wave 1 from here all the way to here, then you're going to need a wave 2, and I would just cut this in half, about 50%, and that brings you right around 64, 65K. So 66, 67 on the high end, 62, 64 on the sort of the low end. So I would just stay, I mean, this area right here would be an interesting, about 64, 65K. If we go even higher than that, if we get an extended fifth, then we have to adjust the target. But that's kind of what I would expect here. So, a lot of people are bullish. And remember, this thing can just easily rip and go. So it doesn't, this could be, and in which case that would be a 1, 2, 1, 2. And this is getting ready for that third wave. Basically, this was all the correction you got. So that's what I'm saying. It's really, it's really at a make it or break it situation. So I would say if this is a 5-wave move, idea number 1, and then we get an ABC pullback, right? So this move, right, we need to come down and correct it, and then kind of build a base here, right? Back test this area, build out that base, and then go. And what do you have? What do you have? You have the main idea that we've been talking about since back over here when we had this divergence, which is what? Which is a rise, crash, retrace, you come down for reaccumulation, then you go sideways, then you break out. We always talk about that. The 4 phases of the market, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. And then, actually 5, because don't forget the blast off, right? So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, blast off. So we have the retrace, right? Well, first of all, we got the rise. We got the crash down to the bull market support band. We had a nice 3-wave shape. And then we bounced nicely off of it, right? This is a retracement. So retracements turn into expansions, right? The market will expand, right? It'll get bigger, but it has to get through the retracement. So typically what happens when it gets into the retracement is either three things can happen in a retracement. Number one, you get there, right, and then you kind of flag out a little bit, meander around, but then eventually you break out and go. So that would be the idea, right? Another thing could happen is you have to come down and then go sideways into reaccumulation and then go. And then the last thing would be obviously a rejection and a crash, or a big ABC. But I don't think that's I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're either going to flag out and go higher, or we're going to go down into reaccumulation and then go higher. So, you know, any way you look at it, I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and, you know, wave 5 here. So is wave 5 finish? It could be truncated. That's the thing. So another idea you can say is this is just a 3-wave move, right? And this right here is an A, this is a B, right? And then we're going to come down and we're going to get C, something like that. So maybe some kind of flat pattern. So then the whole thing would be 1, 2, right? And then you would have a 3, and then all of this is 4, and then later on you get wave 5, right? And then later on you get wave 5, and then you have the bigger ABC dump before the mega moon launch, right? So, you know, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of different things that could happen in here, so you just got to be on your toes. But if I had to guess, I would say, you know, let's talk about what we know here. What we know is we're right at the all-time highs, right? We back tested the bull market support band. We had a nice 3-wave shape. We're right at the resistance here. I mean, basically this is it right here. If we break that, it's go time. And then you also have, you know, a shoulder, right, a head, and now you have another shoulder, so that's bullish. So sometimes, right, you can see how this extended out the shoulder. You had basically 2, so sometimes that can happen where you can come like this, right, and everybody thinks that's the shoulder, but then you get one bigger one like this, and then it breaks out. So basically this whole thing was the shoulder, just like how, you know, this was the whole shoulder. So yeah, it's kind of a wait and see situation, and depending, you know, the altcoins right now are very fragile. Like Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin just barely made a little move to the downside. I mean, I have to zoom in pretty hard, and you can see that 4-hour candle there. We had a dump. You know, if you look at Ethereum, it was a bigger dump. You know, most of them I would say are holding up pretty nice. Let's see, Dogecoin. So like Dogecoin just seems like, you know, and not just Doge, but others are waiting for Bitcoin to sort of make the move. And so far with Dogecoin, you have this could be a B, C, a flat, and this is a 1, 2, and this is another 1, 2, and you're basically, you know, you have this A, B, C, come down a little bit, and then you're ready to go. So it kind of looks like it needs to come down like this, has that shape to it, and then kind of, you know, build a base here and then continue higher, which would kind of match up with what Bitcoin should be doing as well. So Matic, right, when I look at like Matic coins like this that have this similar structure, it looks like a nice ascending triangle, right? I don't like this rally though. This rally right here, this move to the upside, it's very corrective. Like, look at this, how it was impulsing. This seems like a correction. So to me, this move here, right, which this move is correcting this move here. So this move here is still part of that correction, I think. So some type of some kind of move like that, where you have 1, 2, 3, or some kind of three-wave move there. And now this doesn't look sustainable. It looks like it needs to come down like this. And it could break the low and retest this trend line before, and then we'll have to figure out what the structure looks like over here. But it just doesn't look like, I mean, sure, it can keep rolling here, but the way it looks, it just kind of seems like like a bear flag, like it needs to break down, reset, and then go try again. And that would finish out that ascending triangle. But it's sort of neutral here. If we're inside this, if so long as we're holding this trend, you gotta respect that, right? And so long as we're under this resistance, you also gotta respect that. So you're navigating very choppy waters in here, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and so it's that's kind of what you're gonna get until it breaks. So what does it look like now? And you can say, well, who cares about Matic? But Matic is basically telling a similar picture like most of them. I mean, you look at XRP, it's something very, 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 very similar. I mean, almost identical, right? You have this ascending triangle, and it doesn't have a cleaner look, right? Because you have a bigger top here, but you still have that ascending trend. So you could see XRP actually broke that to the downside, right? And I didn't even see that. So how Matic was kind of rolling up here kind of looks like it needs to reset that a little bit. So again, as long as we're holding this trend, we're still looking good. Now if we break that trend, it's probably going to be a big move. It's going to be probably a big move here. So we would have 1, 2, 3, and then a fourth wave triangle, and then you come down for wave 5. And then I would imagine that would be the moonshot, because that would ultimately be correcting this diagonal here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, complex B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave C. So you have A, B, and then C. Is C finished? Well, it could be, but if you need 5 waves, it's not finished. But if it's a WXY, it could be finished. So again, it's very, very tricky. Now it looks more bearish than bullish because we're under the bull market support band. We had this massive dump here, but to me it seems like if it wanted to continue down into a bear market, just going lower, first you would think it would need to come up, grab some liquidity, then take it down, right? So you're building this base here. Why are you? That's the question. What is happening here? Well, this base is all at support, right? And this is all at resistance. So if you're building a base down in here, you go up, you go up, you go up. So to me, right, you would go up. That's the idea. So that's kind of what we're waiting for. Now, can you go lower? Yeah. But I think that would just finish out, if we do go lower, it would just finish out that fifth wave and then ultimately more upside. So, the small time frame again, it seems like we have a three-wave shape here. So what we could see, right, is actually, let me take everything off the screen here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's trashy. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And then you have an A, B, C, right? And that C leg, you know, it has a nice wick here. We're coming right down to support, right in here. You can see the shoulder, this head, right? Little support box in here. So I'd like to see this area hold and then continue higher. If we start breaking it, then it's going to look more and more likely that this triangle is going to break to the downside. Because then at that moment, you would probably lose this trend line here. So, you know, something like that. So yeah, very challenging to know exactly. That's why most traders, they don't know what's going to happen. They don't. They just wait until it happens, and then they sort of execute the trade. So, you know, you basically wait for the setup to occur. Now, is the setup there? It's not really. It's not really there yet. So at least not with XRP. Now, to, you know, going to theta, since we don't know, you know, what the setup's going to look like, what can we do to sort of beat that? Well, we accumulate dollar cost averaging the bull market support band, and that strategy has been paying off. You buy here, it comes back, buy a little bit more, buy a little. So you're basically accumulating the support. So if that support breaks, then at least you didn't accumulate the top, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't know. And if it did break, then you know you're essentially waiting for a back test of this wave 1 here, right? So 1, 2, and this would be another 1, 2, and then at that moment, it would be a very hard buy for a major upswing here. So the question is, you know, is that going to happen, or are we building a base here and then we're going to break out, and then is that going to happen? Well, to me, I don't know until it happens, right? We have to see, right? We don't have to wait until it gets down here, and then by that time it's too late. You wait, you know, once this trend breaks, if you start to see bearish reversals or whatever. But to me, right, this one's going up and this one's going up. So ultimately the price will go up, right? Ultimately, I think the direction is higher. The big thing is, do we have a pit stop and then go higher? Or do we continue to accumulate, and then go higher, right? Well, since we don't know, I'm going to be buying the bull market support band, because if this thing goes up, then, you know, I missed the opportunity to buy the bull market support band. Because if I'm thinking, no, it has to come down here, well, no, it doesn't have to do anything. You still missed it, right? So if you're holding out for this, it might work out, right? It might work out, but it, you know, or you might miss it. So, but if I had to guess, I would say we break to the upside simply because of the fractal, right? So there's like multiple fractals that say, hey, you know, this is normal, this is to be expected, right? And one of the fractals is on theta. So let me zoom in here, and you can kind of see where we're at here. So, you know, just based off looking at this fractal, you know, we continue to play around, because that's the big thing, is what happens in this range. Well, to me, this is accumulation on the bull market support band, so I'm assuming we're going to break out. But just be ready, if we do break down, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a good thing, because, yes, it would suck because it would take more time, but it would develop that back test and the 1-2-1-2, and I think it would be a pretty big wave after that. But even so, right? If we break out of here, it'll still be a nice wave to the upside. So for me, I'm just like, hey, we developed this base this long, right? I mean, look how long we've been here, all just to break down lower. I mean, yeah, it could, but to me, it's more, we're setting up for a bigger move to the upside. But there could be traps, right? I mean, if you look at this fractal here, and I just pull it right up, obviously you have the move down, you have the move down, right? You have this move back up, and then this move down, right? This three-way move down, and then you go back up and take out the top. You come back up, take out the top, and then you can see it kind of goes A, it comes up for B, and then it quickly comes down for C, and then it goes higher. So if I were to translate that, something, I mean, it could be A, B, C, and now we're going higher. That could be it, right? So A, B, C, right? We quickly came down, and now we're going higher. Or this is A, right? And now we're going up for B, and we're going to march up to the upside, and then quickly come down, right? And then start our ascent, right? And that would kind of match up with the fractal. Now, fractals aren't perfect, right? But that's what this fractal is saying. It's saying up, and then a quick flush to the downside, and that's when it starts to go. So, I mean, you can see it, the fractal, with your own eyes. You can see how nicely it's matching up here. So if we look at it as a roadmap, you can see we're we're angled up here. We have a drop down, and then we continue higher. So we'll keep an eye on the fractal. We'll see how it plays out. But that's the theta fractal. Now, I will get to theta fuel, and I will do a target video. So just be patient on that. I will. I know some people have been asking about, because I did a theta video for targets, so I still got to do a theta fuel video for targets. Now, also a few of the ones I missed in the rapid fire, like MAGA. I can just there's a couple of them, and I don't really like that. There's like a MAGA, there's this MAGA, right? Then there's this MAGA as well, but it's got a different ticker. And then there's this MAGA. So they're all different, and I'm not sure. Obviously it looks bullish. You have a 1, you have a 2, and now you have a 1, 2, 3. This looks like a wave 4, and we're about to get a wave 5. So it looks like it needs to come down and finish this wave and then go higher. For this one, it's tough to say. It kind of looks like it needs to probably come down here and back test $9, around that $10 area, and see what happens. And this one, okay, I did that one. So this one here, this one's very new. I mean, you have a wave 1, A, B, C. I mean, the C leg can go all the way down here. It's always tough to know. So the way I would play it is just wait for Bitcoin to break out, and then that's how I would play it. So going to total 3 here, and now I'm going to show you the other fractal that supports theta continuing to move higher, and the rest of the market after it does this sort of grueling sideways accumulation where it kind of goes up, it comes back down, it makes people uncertain, right? And then they start getting skeptical, and then they close their position, and then the market moonshots, and then they FOMO in, and then it crashes on them. So you kind of just want to stay positioned and still, unless your stop loss gets hit, or until the market lets you know. And then there also be on the lookout for liquidity grabs. So what that is there's not enough liquidity in the market, so the market will come down. People will absorb that supply and the liquidity, right? And then they'll take it up. So it will make people think that we're going, we're crashing, but it's actually, we dip our toes down. It's very fast, even some kind of liquidation, right? And then it takes it up like a flash crash. Not to say that's going to happen, but just be cautious of that. So here's the other fractal that also supports the theta fractal, right? Which is basically what? It's this move here, right? And we're coming down. So we still have a little more downside to go, right? First of all, let me pull this up here. Yeah, so this could also be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. So then you kind of need like another ABC, some kind of move down, right? Because we're going up from here all the way to here. So you need some kind of move back down to reset it, and then kind of make your way up. So when I match it with the fractal, it's actually perfect. So something like that. And that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. So the fractal actually gives confluence into what it sort of looks like to me, right? So a lot of people are still expecting that fifth wave, but you heard it here. It could be truncated. And basically, if you don't know what, just go to Google, type in Elliott wave truncated fifth wave, and then you'll know all about it. But basically, it's wave 5 not exceeding the top of wave 3, even though that fifth wave has 5 subwaves. It still qualifies as a fifth wave. It just didn't break the top. So, we could have something like that, right? Where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we need to come down. And that's what I'm thinking. Unless, so let's say, that doesn't happen, and we keep marching higher, then I'm going to think, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have a fifth wave. Now we're in the middle of the retracement levels, right? Because total 3 is still not in its retracement levels on this recent move we had. Now it is in the middle of the retracement levels on the macro, but in this move, actually, you know what? I take that back. We actually are right in the retracement levels. I was looking at the other one in a different, I think it was linear scale. So yes, we are in the middle. We're right at the 618. But again, if we had that fifth wave to the upside, it would be even further in those retracement levels. So this down move here would just get extended out to here and then go. So do we get that little flagging out now, or do we go higher, then we flag out, then go, right? If we start breaking this low right here, right, especially this cluster right here, this wave 2, if we start breaking below that, then that's when things are going to change. And that's when I'm going to think, no, we need to, it's most likely now, right? We got to come down and back test this area. So A, B, and then a C, and then we go, right? And that would also mean theta and all the other coins would break their range and come down here. So is that going to happen? I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, right? If the stock market just collapse on you, yeah, it's possible. But the way this is shaped, it still looks, the shape is still very bullish. I mean, you got this nice trend line here. You kind of have this ascending triangle look to it. I just don't like how it broke out and then it came back in. On the other hand, you could be creating some kind of rising wedge, which is not good, right? Because they usually break to the downside. So boom, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we come up for 5, and then usually what they do is they break down to about to the bottom here, somewhere around here, and then they kind of reset, and then from there it could be like a leading a leading diagonal, and then we continue higher. So that would be more of like a rise, crash, retrace, come down deep for reaccumulation, sideways, then go. So this move down, right, is it going to be big or is it going to be small, or do we get it at all? So for me, I would just continue to follow that fractal and go from there. But any way you slice it and dice it, it's very bullish, right? Especially where Bitcoin is at in the market, the cycle, right? When you look at how the altcoins did the last time, basically the time that it took for the whole bear market, right, has completed. So a good example is like kind of like Dogecoin, right? So this is one bear market, and that time is basically the same amount of time that it took here. So from a time perspective, we're due for a bull run. Now when the market expands, it gets bigger, the time takes longer, right? So when I match this up, we would have already started to blast off here, and I'll match it right at the top, and you can kind of see, we would have already supposed to blast off, but that's, we're actually overdue. But the thing is, when markets get bigger and the market caps are bigger, that means it takes longer to move that money around. So yeah, from a Dogecoin fractal perspective, I would say, we're right around there, right around where we should be. And I don't think it's going to blast off like it did last time. I mean, I think it'll be a good rally, but I don't think it's going to give people the gains they think, because the market cap's already massive. I would get a smaller cap meme coin if I'm going to play the meme coins. But you can see this move here, right? Same thing. And then it comes down and it builds a base. And then it comes down and now it's building the base. And then eventually it breaks out. But before it broke out here, right? So let me pull it up here. And it actually gave you, so look at this. It came up, it broke out, it got everybody bullish, but then it came all the way back down to back test. And that's when you get in, right? If you're trading. So you kind of just wait, let the price break out. So let's say it breaks out. If you want to be conservative and you don't want to take any risk or chances, just let it break out. Or if it's going to break to the downside, let it break down. Because if it breaks to the upside, chances are you're going to come all the way down and you're going to back test. And that's when you buy. And then it goes up. If it breaks to the downside, don't short it, don't sell it. Wait until it comes back up and back test or retest it here, and then short it, and then it goes down. You see what I mean? So for Dogecoin, if you're kind of in this box in here, and let's say we get a nice impulse to the upside, wait for the 3-wave pullback and let it back test, and that's where you take your long. If you long it now, we could come down, right? But at least this way, you're buying now new support here. So here's the kind of the fractal here from last time. I'm going to actually overlay that. So when I took the Dogecoin fractal and put it, match it up, it also has, letting you know that it could come down. So you have the theta fractal, you have the total 3 fractal, and now you have the Dogecoin fractal that are all saying, hey, we're right about here. We need some downside. See how we went flat? We broke out, then we came down, something like that. So when I match that up here, it's not a nice fractal. It's not matching up nicely like the others, but you can tell, from a time perspective, what's kind of happening here. So I would actually, obviously you have the move down, you have the move down, you have this move up, you have this move up, you have this move back down, and then you kind of go up and then sideways, you kind of go up and then sideways, right? And it actually went sideways for a while, and then it kind of pointed up, and now potentially coming down, right? So some type of ABC, maybe back test the bull market support band again, then shoot back up, go sideways, and then run. And then it should come back down to back test in a 3-wave shape down in here. And then that should be, your opportunity right here. If you wanted to wait, right, to buy right here, that's where I would buy if I'm in a long. So I would kind of wait for that. Now, if we have a nice 3-wave shape here, you can also long down in here. And that would also be a good spot. So either here or here. And not just with Dogecoin, but all of them. So basically they're all going to do something similar to that effect. Kind of like how SHIB is doing now, right? It kind of had this little move up, and now it's moving back down, right? So once it gets here, that would be a good area to long. And then it comes up, it back tests, that would be another good area, and then let it go. So you got 2 opportunities potentially coming here. Now it has to play out, right? It has to play out nicely. If it you get big moves down, or if it kind of shoots out, you have to just wait. But most people, I would imagine, are hodling and investing. So in that case, you don't have nothing to worry about. You just sit back, relax, and wait for the price to do what it needs to do. But as far as accumulating positions, that's kind of where I would look to buy. The somewhat of the issue that I have is Ethereum. I mean, if this is 1, 2, 3. And now we're getting wave 4, and then we get wave 5. That's what I would like to see. So if we zoom in on that, what is going on with Ethereum? So number 1, this could be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. And now this is an A, this is a B, and then we're coming down for C. And then we go. And then that whole thing would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that's kind of the idea there. Now, if it's more bullish, this could be an A, a B, a C, a running flat, where you have the A wave, the B wave takes out this one here, you come down without taking out this wave, and now you're kind of 1, 2, 1. You're kind of consolidating here, potentially a 1, 2, 1, 2 here. So it does have that bear flag look, right? When I flip it upside down, it actually looks bullish, doesn't it? Which means it's actually bearish. So you have this this top, it slightly breaks the top, it comes down, and it bull flags here. So to me, it needs to go down, right? So when I flip it back side up, it needs to come, that's just what it looks like to me. It looks like it needs to finish that. Now, they can easily, keep this trend line and keep it moving here, keep it rocking. Totally possible. But we just looked at all those fractals. We looked at a lot of stuff. I would imagine it, when I say down, I don't mean immediately. We could get a big three-way pullback that takes until Saturday, right? A three-way pullback, and then make your way down, because you just had a big dump today. So I would imagine we would hold some support here, get a little bit of a bounce, and then work your way down and finish up this A, B, C. But this is getting kind of big in here. So yeah, very challenging price action right now. When you compare it to the last correction we had, I mean, we did this like a boss. I mean, this was nice. We had a nice three-wave shape. We had an A, B, C. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a nice wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Then we had this sort of flat here, and yeah, it was nice. This is much more complicated. It's much more complex. There's much more going on in here. So there's more, which means, yes, it's more difficult, but there's also more possibilities. But all in all, right, when you look at everything from a zoomed out perspective, we're still very bullish. I'm just not sure how this range is going to work itself out. But I've offered my thesis, and either, again, just real quick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get an ABC pullback, maybe backtest this bull market support band, and then start rolling. So I'm expecting kind of a down move at some point. It could start now, or we could get another wave up and then start. But this down move is going to be sort of that last move before the big run up. Just like back over here, right? We had that first wave to the upside, and you can see how we're just kind of going back and forth. Nobody knew what was going on until it ripped. So, when I put this fractal on one more time, you can see where we are in the fractal. We're up here. You can see the blue bar starting to head down. So that's probably what's going to happen. Could we get one more spike to the high? Yeah. But, either way, it looks like it needs this move right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, right there. This is what we're looking for. Some kind of flagging out, some kind of consolidation before the big run up. So that would be my final idea. So, all right, guys, that'll do it for this video. If that's helpful for you, please leave a like and consider subscribing and drop a comment, and let me know what you guys think. And if you have any coins you want me to take a look at during the next rapid fire, go ahead and drop them in the comment section, and I'll definitely get to your comment when I'm able, and I'll write it down, and we'll look at it on the next rapid fire. But until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.